Maverick 100.9, Aggie Lands Country Alternative. It's Corliss, and I'm always happy to meet new people. And today we have the Ransom Brothers. Right now on with me is Sean and Sal. Hi, guys. It's so nice to finally meet you.
Nice to meet you, too. Thanks so much for having us.
Nice to meet you, Corliss. Thanks for having us.
I am glad to. So I guess the first question on the docket, with a name like the Ransom Brothers, are you two the Ransom Brothers? Who is the Ransom?
So the true, I guess there's no way around the answer to that question. None of the members of the band are related. It just kind of came about with we're very heavily Allman Brothers influenced. And there's a long story about kind of how we came up with Ransom. But the Brothers idea was just something that came about when we were working with our producer, Chris Beal. He was like, hey, the Brothers would sound good. Go with that.
It does sound good. And Sean, like you were telling me earlier, you and Sal have been doing this together for quite some time before an entire band was really involved, right?
Yeah, I'd say Sean and I worked together for probably about a year and a half, 2 years, doing a lot of acoustic gigs. And that's how we got started. That's how we got to playing at some of the venues here in Austin, was doing open mics.
Our first 2 gigs were actually in College Station.
No way!
Yeah.
That is so exciting. Don't you love it here? I mean, Austin is cool, but College Station's where it's at, I'm telling you.
That's where it all got started for us. Sean and I met and we jammed out one time, and he was just like, hey man, you can hold your own on a rhythm. You want to come play a couple gigs with me down at College Station? I was like, sure, man. And honestly, I hadn't played any kind of live thing in about a decade. I had probably just started really picking my guitar back up about maybe 3 or 4 months before meeting Sean. So I was pretty rusty in terms of lead, but I could play rhythm just fine. And I was like, you know what, man, let's go do that. So we played these 2 shows, and we just kept writing together and playing ever since then. And then I think it was about September last year that we found our drummer and our bass player. And man, we went to the woodshed with these guys. Thinking back now, because at this point, I mean, we have usually at least 1 or 2 gigs a week. So that's kind of just, rehearse on stage, and we've got it down at this point. But when we first started working together, we were getting together like 2-3 times a week. I mean, for 2 or 3 hours a time. And thinking back now, it's like, oh man, I don't know how we managed all that. But
how did we not get shot by your roommates?
Yeah. So we practice at my place, which is everything behind me right now, and I've got 2 roommates.
Oh no!
Love having a band.
That's a really cool story, because some things, especially when it comes to country music, you just got to let them happen naturally. And it sounds like you guys really found your footing before releasing new music to us, which brings us to this single that we're debuting today called Talk of the Town. This is your first radio release?
Correct.
Yes.
And where does this song come from? Is this just from the 2 of you, or was the whole band really heavily involved?
So Talk of the Town it really came from, I was spending a weekend it was for my mother's birthday. We were in Fredericksburg, Texas, and it was my brother and sister-in-law and my mom and dad and I. We're driving down the main street in Fredericksburg, and we see this boutique shop that says Talk of the Town on it. And my sister-in-law kiddingly was like, Talk of the Town would be a great name for a song. Sean, you should write that. And I was like, that's actually not, it's something to work with. So food for thought. And I went back to the Airbnb. I brought a guitar with me. We just would sing old, Waylon Jennings and, Patsy Cline, Bonnie Raitt songs, stuff that my mom loved.
Yeah.
And I started working on the idea of it, and I came up with kind of the shell of what I wanted for the lyrics and for the acoustic chord progression. And 9 times out of 10, that's usually how our songs start. We will put together a shell chord progression and a shell of how basically the stripped down message of what we want the lyrics to mean. They may not all be the most poetic way of doing things, but we'll write down what we want to say. We'll be like, oh, here's a little filler word here for, I want to say this. And so I brought it to Sal, brought it to the rest of the members of the band, and then we ultimately brought it to our producer, Chris Beal, and they were like, hey, this has some real kind of dance hall sort of just real awesome summery dance hall vibes to it. And it's got a lot of that kind of rich country sound that you want. It's a very strong chorus. And by the time all was said and done, I came back and told my sister-in-law, I was like, well, the band likes it. We're going to cut it. And so she was like, oh, that's awesome.
And now it is born. And we've got it right here on Maverick 100.9. For the first time ever, this is the Ransom Brothers and Talk of the Town.
Didn't have a chance with a girl like her. Ripped her pants and a wrinkled up shirt. But I changed my clothes and combed my hair. She couldn't help but stare. Didn't have faith, but I took a leap. Didn't have a truck, just a beat up Jeep. Hand me down, but she didn't care. She'd ride with me anywhere. I'm the talk of the town. Everybody knows my name. 'Cause I'm in love with the girl that they all chase around. Hey, I'm the talk of the town. I got there early, she made us late, picking out a dress that she didn't hate. She walked down the stairs and stood in the light. How'd that girl end up mine? I'm the talk of the town. Everybody knows my name. 'Cause I'm in love with the girl that they all chase around. I'm the talk of the town. Didn't have much, but I had a ring. Did all I could to give her everything. Set it all down on my knee. She said yes to me. Now I'm the talk of the town. Everybody knows my name. 'Cause I'm in love with the girl that they all chase around. Now we share a last name. I'm the talk of the town. Everybody knows my name. 'Cause I'm in love with the girl that they all chase around. And thank God she feels the same. I'm the talk of the town. I'm the talk of the town.
You just heard it here first on Maverick 100.9. That was the Ransom Brothers, Talk of the Town. I've got Sean and Sal on with me, which it's been really cool getting to know a couple guys from Austin. And I love doing this early on into an artist's career. We were chatting off air, you know, you're really in the process of, this is your first radio single, and you're in the process of building a future for you guys, yourselves and your band. What does that feel like? Or what are some of the goals that you could share with us on this early start to your career?
Yeah, I'll start first just a little and then let Sean kind of finish off. Our goal definitely is to find ourselves doing this full time. And we've been at this for Sean and I for about, I don't know, close to 3 years now, and working with the band close to a year coming up on that. But, as we've started to kind of grow the places that we play here in Austin and reach outside towards, Fredericksburg, San Antonio, Dallas, hopefully soon College Station. Later this year, hopefully we'll release another single. And then our overall goal is early next year to start working on an album. I'll let Sean kind of talk a little bit more about that and kind of what the process has been and kind of how we're planning to attack that.
Yeah.
So, everything that Sal said is correct in terms of like what, the work that we put in and where we're at now. It's like, it's all kind of leading towards an album. And I guess the mission statement of this band is, we grew up on a lot of stuff that we really love. And the catalog of music that we have right now is the first 4 songs that we put out were very much an independent project. And it was a very rootsy, very kind of like stripped down, more Americana sounding thing than anything. And once we started moving a little bit more towards the very refined, very polished sound in the studio, we like both of the things that we have. We want to get into the studio next year and really, do our homework from now until then, pay our dues and figure out, okay, what is our sound as a band? What do we do well creatively? What does every member of the band do well? And how can we translate that to an unmistakable sound that, we not only are we, giving a fan base what they want, and it's like, these guys are awesome, we want to listen to them, but also we're being true to ourselves. And, the mentors that not mentors, but like the people that we look up to that are the most honest and just true songwriters and have a sound that is like, it's so authentic that you can't poke holes in it. You can't criticize it for reasons that, they weren't doing what they wanted to do. Our biggest goal is just to be honest performers, honest songwriters, and just have a sound that is, okay, that is uniquely the Ransom Brothers. That's ultimately what we want our album to do in its function.
You really do start to notice years and years in love of music. You always see that the most honest and authentic people are the ones that we remember the most. Or say in my case, I normally don't go a day without quoting Dolly Parton, because anything that's ever come out of her mouth has spoken to me, and it ages well, and you can always look back on it, and you can always trust Dolly,
Oh yeah.
There you go.
Well, after speaking to you guys, this makes me really, really excited for your future, and I can't wait to see where it takes you. So anybody listening, this is the Ransom Brothers. You can follow them on all social medias. You can download their music, including their debut single here on Maverick, Talk of the Town. And Sal and Sean, it sure was fantastic getting to know you guys.
Yeah, same here. Thank you so much for having us. We were looking forward to this quite a bit. So
it has been awesome. Thank you, Corliss. We appreciate it.